to be represented as the pagan fertility goddess. The original pagan festival of Easter was a sex orgy that celebrated the return of life via the fertility of Semiramis, aka Ishtar's conception of Tammuz. Worshippers of the ancient Babylonian religion celebrated the conception, not birth, but conception of Tammuz on the first Sunday after the full moon that followed the spring equinox. They celebrated it by baking cakes to Ishtar, getting drunk, engaging in sex orgies and prostitution in the temple of Ishtar. Women were required to celebrate the conception of Tammuz by laying down in the temple and having sex with whoever entered. Babies were then sacrificed in the honor of these pagan gods, and their blood was consumed by the worshippers. The priest of Easter would sacrifice infants, human babies, and take the eggs of Easter/Ishtar as symbols of fertility, and dye them in the blood of the sacrificed infants. The Easter eggs would hatch on December 25th, 9 months later. The same day her son Tammuz, the reincarnate sun god, would be born. You will see her mentioned in Judges chapter 10, verse 6, or 1 Kings chapter 11, verse 5. This is the mother goddess and the celebration of Easter, and the customs associated with Easter all come from this worship. It has nothing to do with Yahshua. It is the commemoration of the conception of the reborn sun god born on December 25th. This is what Easter is. Now, without going into complete detail about Rome and their supposed conversion to Christianity, there are some dots that should be connected. The Romans were pagans before their conversion. They believed in this same Father God, Mother God, Son of God concept created by ancient Babylon. They just replaced the names and made us believe that Yahweh is the Father God, Mary is the Mother Goddess, and Jesus Christ is the Son of God. They already celebrated these pagan festivals. This is why the date of Easter was set to the first Sunday of the first full moon after the spring equinox. They set this date in accordance with their already known pagan festival. They just replaced the meaning with the resurrection of Christ. Easter is a pagan holiday, regardless if we have decided to change the reason why we acknowledge the date, even down to the name Easter. Now, many researchers say that the name Easter derives from the other name of the moon goddess Semiramis, which is Ishtar, and that Easter is a correct pronunciation of this name, Ishtar, in Semitic dialects. Another says the word Easter is of Saxon origin, and it is derived from the word Esoter, aka Easter. The ancient Saxons in northern Europe worshipped the goddess Oeaster at the time of the spring equinox. This is the same mother goddess, Queen of Heaven. Either way, no matter where it comes from, it is easily discerned that this name has nothing to do with Yahshua. Nothing at all. And the funny thing is that churches today know this, but instead of them digging deeper, they just decided to change the name to the Resurrection Sunday and make that the solution. But that is far from the solution. Changing the name does not change what is being worshipped. Easter eggs. The symbol of the rebirth of life in the springtime is the egg. Eggs, since ancient times, were known to be very prominent as symbols of new life and resurrection. Ishtar's supernatural egg was now considered an emblem of generative life and rebirth, better known as Ishtar's eggs or Easter eggs. The Easter egg is in reference to a woman's reproduction, her fertility. This makes sense as Ishtar is the goddess of fertility, and a woman's egg is how she produces. As I explained earlier, the priest of Easter would sacrifice infants, human babies. You see, many babies will be born around December 25th from those sex orgies that began on the feast of Ishtar in the spring. And then horribly, many of these babies would then be sacrificed the following Easter. The priest would then take the eggs as symbols of fertility and dye them in the blood of the sacrificed infants. Horrible. So anytime you are dealing with Easter eggs, dyeing them, and Easter egg hunts, you are participating in an ancient pagan culture that dealt in blood sacrifice and worship of the mother goddess. Nothing about Easter eggs are harmless. It just has been marketed to us this way. If your church has participated and had Easter egg hunts, question the leadership there.